the jeweler saw. This is the first tool you need to learn how to use before you become a skilled and trained metalsmith. There's a couple tools you need in order to start out, and the first one is your bench pin. You need a C-clamp, and this is the jeweler saw. In order to get set up, C-clamp adjusts like this, and then also goes like this. There's a bench pin, which is flat on one side and angled on the other. When you're sawing, you want to make sure that the flat side is facing upward. And so when you attach it into the table, you want to put it against here, and then use your C-clamp to secure it to the table. You'll be sawing in this V. It helps stabilize the metal when you're sawing. So now, the jeweler saw. There's 3 different wing nuts. This one loosens and tightens and goes up and down. That gives you the distance of the blade that you need. The other 2 are what tightens the blade to the saw. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to adjust this to the right length. So this is a jeweler saw. Can you see that?
Yeah, let me zoom in. So how do we know which way to put it?
So when you're loading a jeweler saw, good question. Here's a close-up. You want the teeth to be facing down and going outward from the saw. Okay. And a good way to test that is to gently put your hand on the blade, and where you feel it a little bit rough, that's how you know the direction of the teeth.
All right.
So when I do this, I put it in the bottom one first, and I use the tabletop to relax. To rest the jeweler saw on. And I'll load it in the bottom one first, and I'll tighten that. And what I'm doing is I'm loading it in between these 2 pieces right here. And then to make sure that I have the right length, if you see the top of the saw, this saw blade isn't touching the top, so I need to make sure that I make it a little bit shorter so that it can fit in that groove. And then I tighten this wing nut here.
Cool.
Now when I'm loading this up, there's a couple ways to tell if it's tight. You want to push on the frame of the saw, and you want to tighten it. And you want it to sound like a high-pitched sound, like a guitar. If it's too loose, it's going to sound like a bass. That's not going to work. You're going to break a blade really, really quickly. So if it's not tight enough, you just loosen it up and tighten it again.
Ooh.
Woo. So I'm left-handed, so the best way to situate yourself is the hand that you are going to saw with, you want to have in front of the bench pin. So if you're right-handed, you'd be a little bit over to the left side. Okay? I tend to be a little bit further away from the tabletop, but some people like to be really close. It's kind of whatever you're comfortable with. So when you're sawing, the first thing you need to do is you need to have your design drawn out. Now I've just drawn a circle and a square because I want to show you guys how to make a curve and a sharp angle. So have that drawn on there with a scribe, and when you're all set up, you also want to use wax as a lubricant for the saw blade. And when you're waxing this, you only want to go in a downward direction one time. If you go upward, you're going to clog the teeth and it won't cut as well. Now the position of sawing is 90 degrees straight up and down, sawing like this. And you want to use the whole entire length of the blade. Okay, so I'm going to show you a straight line first. So here's my groove, and I'm resting the metal on top of that. And when I start, I kind of hold it at an angle to get started, but then I go straight up and down. I'm never going to put my hands in front of the blade. I'm always going to have it behind. If it's cutting through metal, it's going to cut right through your finger, so be careful. And I'm just following that line. Now when I get up to this corner, if I turn the blade too much, I'm just going to snap the blade. So what I need to do is something I call a shimmy, and I'll show you what that is. So now I'm there, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move, I'm going to wiggle and jog my blade like this until I create a hole large enough to totally turn the blade, okay? So I'm going to kind of shimmy like this. And if you notice, when I'm sawing, I'm actually turning my metal more so than the actual saw. So once I have a big enough groove, I can then turn it this way. And I'm going all the way up and down. Sometimes people will go like this. That's just gonna make you really tired. So just go all the way up and down. And when you come to the end, slow down a little bit so you don't break your blade. And then there you go.
Voila.
Voila.
Wow. Amazing.
Do you have time?
Yeah.